Every music producer wants to make six figures a year, but most of you feel stuck on a treadmill, working long hours and trying all this different stuff, but not actually getting anywhere. And the reason for that is simple. Everything you've learned about building a music production business can help you get started, but it's not going to help you grow. These are the six-figure producer secrets that nobody tells you. Hey everyone, Daniel here from Dark Label Music. We take producers full-time and help them scale to six figures. I've been doing this for over 12 years now. And today I want to share 3 simple systems that our highest earning producers use on a daily basis that make going full-time and scaling to six figures much, much easier, no matter what level you're starting at. And the first system has to do with the artist or clients that you choose to work with. And I want to go on a quick drive here because there's something I'm going to show you that will make this a lot easier to explain. When you're starting as a producer, the advice you get is that any work is good work. Just go find artists that are willing to work with you. And that advice is not wrong. But over time, you can become limited by the artists that you work with. For example, if you're stuck working with artists that don't release the songs you work on together, or maybe you're not proud of the songs that you're working on with those clients, it becomes a problem over time. And you might be thinking like, well, if they're paying me and I'm making a full-time income, then what's the problem? And that's what I want to explain to you with this first system. All right, this is what I wanted to show you. This Ferris wheel weighs over 800,000 pounds. And when you're new to freelancing and getting clients, it's going to feel like you're having to turn this massive Ferris wheel by hand to get it to start spinning. But over time, it gets easier and easier to spin once you get it spinning. And that is what we call in the business world a flywheel. But when you're working with clients that don't release the songs you do, or you're not proud to show them, then the problem is every time you want to go get a new client, it's going to feel like you're having to start this humongous Ferris wheel from a dead stop every time. Six-figure producers do it differently. They say no way more often and only work with great clients. And then they release music and content that demonstrates the level of artist that they work with. And guess what that does? It makes it easier to attract more of those great clients, and the cycle repeats itself and it creates a flywheel. And once they get their flywheel going, it keeps spinning and spinning. They don't have to start from a dead stop every time they need to go get a new client. But it's getting pretty cold out here, so I'm going to finish this in the office. I'll show you a real example of this flywheel. This is one of our producers, Phil Davidson from the UK, and he develops and produces indie artists. And here's how his flywheel works. Now, to get it started, he would go out and target specific artists on Instagram that he wanted to work with, reach out to them, develop a relationship, and ultimately land them as a client. And even though it takes a lot of time and effort to do that in the beginning, you'll see why it's worth it, because he will go and make content like these YouTube videos that document and demonstrate what he truly does as a producer. And it shows the market, hey, what kind of artists he likes to work with. It almost acts like a magnet. From that, he gets dozens of new artists reaching out that want to work with him. Now, of course, he says no to the ones that aren't a good fit, and he says yes to the ones that are a good fit. And then he does the exact same thing with them. But when you're not specific with the clients you work with, your flywheel stops here. And you've got to start it over every time. You get no leverage or momentum. So in the beginning, yes, just go out and work with any clients just to get the experience. That is important. But when you're ready to scale with a flywheel, you've got to start saying no to the wrong projects and leave your calendar open for the right ones, which can totally be scary, right? Like saying no to money causes anxiety when you're a freelancer. But the second system is what six-figure producers use to get over that fear. This is Nick Warner. He runs a nice home studio out in LA, and we've been working together for, almost like 3 years now. And Nick earns 6 figures per year as a songwriter, producer, and mixer. But here's the twist. Over half of that 6-figure income comes from just 3 clients. And I'm not talking about like big labels or companies or anything. These are 3 independent artists. So how does he do that? When you're coming up as a freelance producer, you are taught to sell your services, right? You sell your producing, your mixing, studio time, whatever you do. And again, that's not wrong. That's not bad advice. But at some point, you've got to evolve, because if you just stay in the mindset of selling services, then everyone will just compare you to every other producer out there. Every freelance producer sells services. But six-figure producers, they sell the relationship, and I'll show you how they do that. So instead of asking an artist what service they need or to tell you about the song they want to produce, my producers like Nick will ask them, hey, tell me what you're trying to accomplish in your career over the next 12 to 18 months. And they'll have that conversation. And then my producer will draw out a plan, the full plan. For example, it might look something like this. Hey, over the next 14 months, let's do a release every other month. The first few releases will just be a test so we can kind of develop this new direction and see how the market responds. Around here, I'll loop in someone from my network who can help us with the marketing side. And then on month 14, we can kind of package all these songs up into an EP and start shopping it to some managers. I'll, of course, be here to help you, navigate all of this. How does that sound? Spoiler alert. It blows their mind. And a true creative relationship is born out of deal structures like this. This is what real producers, in my opinion, look like and how they work. Now, it's going to be harder to compare you to someone else when you work this way because every producer's going to have their own style of doing this. But that's not all. Look at what happened here financially. So instead of selling a full song production for $1,500 or $2,000, this is now turned into a project that could be 5 to 10 times that size. This allows you to invest way more time with each artist you're working with while still earning enough money. It removes a lot of the hustle. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, how does an independent artist pay for this? Well, typically my producers will take the total of the project and split it into monthly or quarterly payments so that it's more manageable and predictable. And this is optional. You could even use a financing tool, something like Klarna, if you and your clients are comfortable with that, of course. This allows you as the producer to receive all the funds up front, but your clients can pay over time. And to be clear, the majority of my producers find that they don't need to use financing tools like that, but just wanted to throw it in there as an option. Now, the system I just showed you is called the momentum model, and it's something that I coined about 6 years ago. And the cool part is that you don't have to wait to try this. Even producers in their first year of being full-time, like Donnie here, is using this model almost exclusively. He started 6 months ago, and he's booked 4 months in advance with $6,000 per month recurring revenue. By the way, if you want to hear recorded conversations I have with these producers, like real strategy calls or I'm helping them solve problems, then check out our producer management podcast. It's pretty different from this YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the description below. But before you go down that rabbit hole, there is one more system that you have to know because I see this wreck people all the time. Producers will often tell me that they don't know what they should be focusing on. And they usually think it's a time management problem, but most of the time it's actually a priorities problem, what to prioritize. About 3 years ago, I was consulting a big producer named Epic Pro. I know him as Stuart. He did that Bryson Tiller song, Don't. I think it has almost 2 billion streams or something now. And Stuart was running into a problem that happens to pretty much every producer as they grow and become more popular. More and more people start asking you for shit. You get too many opportunities. Now, when you're starting out, this is great, right? And you're taught to say yes to every new opportunity because it could lead to something big. And that advice is not wrong. But as you grow, sometimes this can hurt your business. And it's sneaky. It's like death from 1,000 little paper cuts. I'll show you what I mean. So for the sake of this conversation, there are 2 different types of money you can earn as a producer. You have now money. When someone hires you, they pay you and you do the work. This is typically your freelancing or other businesses you control. Then you have future money. This is the exciting stuff, right? Pitching, collaborations, writing camps, things that may not pay much or anything up front, but could lead to bigger paychecks down the road. And neither are bad. But where it can go wrong is when you need now money, but your schedule is all tied up working on future money because you had FOMO, fear of missing out. And I totally get it. This was the problem I saw Stuart and so many others run into. They would hire me to help them grow their now money. And that's what they said they wanted to focus on. But in reality, when I would check in with them and look at their schedule, all of their time was being spent on future money. And most of them didn't even realize it because they were just saying yes to everything without thinking. So how do we fix this? I made a system. These yellow Skittles represent all of the tasks associated with future money. Things like making instrumentals for your catalog, reaching out to A&Rs, pitching, attending writing camps, stuff like that. So on your real calendar, color code these blocks of time in yellow. And the green skittles over here represent all of the tasks associated with now money, stuff like doing your outreach, making content, sales calls, sessions with clients. So on your real calendar, color code these blocks of time in green. Now, every month, you just need to decide what your focus is going to be based on your current needs. That's it. If you're focused on now money, it doesn't mean you have to give up future money, but your schedule should look a little bit more like this, more green. But if income is stable and you want to focus on landing bigger opportunities with potential future money, then great. Your schedule should look a little bit more like this, more yellow. You set the percentage here. There is no right or wrong. This system just allows you to put the FOMO aside, take control, and build a career that fits you and your goals at any given time. Now, you might have noticed something that all three of these systems have in common. Every single one of them is about being more intentional. Struggling producers are often just hustling and winging it, but most six-figure producers are intentional about who they work with, how they sell themselves, and what they focus on. At least that's what I've noticed working with nearly 1,000 producers now. If you need some advising to help launch or scale your production business, me and my partner Aaron take on a few new clients every month. Link is in the description below, and you can watch this next video that shows our entire process of taking producers full-time and then helping them scale. Please subscribe, and thanks for watching.